We have to call this meeting to order. Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Start with a roll call.
Council President Albertson.
Here.
Council Member Rivera.
Here.
Council Member O'Halloran.
Here.
Council Member McIrvin.
Here.
Council Member Prince.
Here.
Council Member Perez.
Here.
And Council Member Vaughn. All right, roll call, Mr. Mayor, one absent, I think.
Mr. Mayor,
Council President Albertson.
move to excuse the absent council member.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Council President Albertson, second by Councilmember Perez, that the council excuse the absent council member. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. So the first order of business tonight is a special presentation. Chief Schultz.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council President, council members, community members, and members of the Renton Police family. It's my honor and privilege to represent the police department this evening and to recognize and celebrate several of our department members to highlight their actions and achievements. First off, I'd like to feature a new wellness program that we have introduced into our department, a therapy canine. I'm hoping there it is. Okay. No. The mission of a therapy comfort canine is to help department employees, victims, witnesses, and community members cope with exposure to traumatic incidents, support the department's wellness program to improve members' resiliency and overall well-being, and participate in community outreach to enhance police relations with the community. Wally, it's the dog, is a 16-month-old English yellow lab. In 10 months of training, he's been taught to recognize anxiety in people and assist those suffering from PTSD-related issues. Wally and Officer Myers anticipate completing their training together this week and will be certified to assist Renton employees and Renton community members with general wellness related to these issues. Wally is extremely friendly and is always looking for pets and hugs from anyone and everyone. His handler, Officer Myers, has been a member of the Renton Police Department for 17 years. He has served as a member of Patrol Operations, our direct enforcement team, and most recently, Officer Myers spent the past 2 years on loan to the Criminal Justice Training Center, where he served as a TAC officer, teaching new hires across the state to become commissioned police officers. He returned to patrol in January for his current assignment with Wally. Due to the nature of our work in this profession, officers are constantly bombarded by situations that are going to affect them mentally for the rest of their lives. We are looking to this program, coupled with our support services, to relieve some of that burden. So, thank you, Officer Myers. All right. Next, if I can get Officer Ettinger and Regoza, please.
I think Wally needs to visit us on Monday up here on the
I'm
dais.
thinking he might have a permanent assignment up here every Monday.
Agreed.
Some of the, yeah, right there's perfect. Yes, thanks. Right. The life-saving medal is awarded to members who save the life of another. Factors that merit this consideration are the member is aware of the seriousness of the situation, acted purposely, and if they had not acted, the victim would have been more than likely succumbed to their injuries. On July 12th at 0206 hours, officers were dispatched to a report of an illegal discharge, becoming all too common these days. While searching the area, they located a victim with multiple gunshot wounds. Officer Ettinger, Regoza, and Officer Smith immediately began assessing the victim for injuries, locating wounds to the chest, hip, and arm. The officers then started trauma care, applying chest seals and pressure dressings. Medics arrived, took over care, providing the victim with a blood transfusion on scene due to the dire condition, prior to transporting him in critical condition. The officers' actions undoubtedly saved the victim's life. Their diligent search, immediate medical care while conducting a criminal investigation enabled medics and doctors the opportunity to perform higher level life-saving efforts, without which the victim would have certainly died of his wounds. The victim did survive his injuries. For your exceptional life-saving efforts and performance of duty, you are hereby certified the Renton Police Department's Life-Saving Medal. Your efforts confirm your commitment to the safety of the Renton community. So thank you, gentlemen. Right. Actually, don't go too far, Officer Ettinger. Along with Officer Adam and Selbert, I don't know if Sergeant Summers snuck in or not. Oh. Come on up, Paul. The Meritorious Service Medal will be awarded when there's sufficient evidence of outstanding performance of duty, notwithstanding any consideration for the member's physical safety. On July 14th, officers responded to a report of an active shooter at an apartment complex. Dispatch had received 25 calls reporting a male moving through the hallways and courtyard shooting a handgun. Officers quickly arrived, deployed in teams to search the large interior of the complex. While the suspect was subsequently located in the garage of the complex, while not seeing him in possession of a firearm, they moved methodically and purposefully to detain the subject, who appeared to be suffering from a mental health crisis. He was detained, and the Renton Fire Authority, along with an ambulance, were requested for mental health evaluation and transport. The subject's behavior soon changed, and medics were requested as it appeared his symptoms were now beyond normal mental crisis and advanced medical care was needed. The suspect soon lost consciousness, and officers proceeded to administer aid, starting CPR and applying an AED. Fire and medics arrived and took over life-saving measures. The officers that responded this day acted with valor and professionalism in one of the most stressful types of calls they are asked to respond to. They put their personal safety behind that of our citizens, attempting to protect them from the dangers of an active shooter, a true example of service before self. Officers did not hesitate to initiate immediate medical aid to a suspect that had put the public and themselves in danger, displaying the professionalism and integrity of Renton police officers. For their conscious display of extreme courage while under substantial risk to their own physical safety beyond the normal demands of police service, you are hereby conferred the Renton Police Department's Meritorious Service Medal. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. I think you can bring her with you if you want. Okay. So on November 27th at approximately 1919 hours, officers were dispatched to report of a domestic violence incident involving a mother and her adult son. She reported that her son suffered from serious mental health issues, was intoxicated, was armed with a knife, and threatening to harm her. He had also stated he wanted to harm officers in order to initiate a lethal confrontation. The mother had barricaded herself in her bedroom and was extracted by arriving officers via a window, while Officer Bowie kept visual on the suspect in the living room from a window. As soon as the mother was safe, Blake initiated contact with the suspect. The suspect came to the window, initially concealing 2 knives. He then brandished them, advising officers to shoot him. Officers created distance in an attempt to de-escalate the suspect. For the next 2 hours, Blake continued speaking with the suspect, while the suspect's emotions were in constant turmoil, at one point putting the knife to his own throat. Blake would redirect the suspect's erratic behavior and eventually convinced him to exit and surrender peacefully. This incident is an example of dedication, professionalism, and integrity of every officer on scene. Blake's actions that evening went above and beyond, placing himself in potential danger to repeatedly engage a violent, mentally ill individual to an eventual peaceful surrender. For your conscious display of extreme courage while under substantial risk to your physical safety beyond the normal demands of police service, you are hereby conferred the Renton Police Department's Meritorious Service Medal. Sergeant Tebow. Thank you. It is my honor this evening to present Sergeant Tebow, who is newly promoted into a formal leadership position within the department. Quint started with the police department in July of 2000 after serving our country in the United States Marine Corps. Quint has worn many hats in his almost 25 years of service, including an assignment with the Auto Theft Task Force, training coordinator, quartermaster, firearms instructor, field training officer, and hostage negotiator. I'm going to share a memo that I received that really reflects the quality of Quint's character and embodies the essence of the Renton police culture. And this came all the way up the chain of command. It started with a fellow officer that was serving with Quint, went to the supervisor and made its way up. This was a newly lateral officer to our organization, was kind of amazed by what she saw. This month, I was on a call with Officer Tebow at the Stonebrook Apartments. After handling a call, a group of children happily approached Officer Tebow with basketballs and footballs. Officer Tebow and Officer Nelson played catch with the children. Some of the children's basketballs and footballs were deflated. Officer Tebow retrieved an air pump from the back of his patrol vehicle and inflated the balls for the children. I asked Officer Tebow if he normally rides around with an air pump, and he told me the last time he played basketball with the kids at Stonebrook, their balls were deflated. Officer Tebow explained that he went to Play It Again Sports, bought a ball pump, so the next time he was there, he'd be able to play with kids with inflated balls. So, absolutely incredible. Quint's promotion was effective on December 1st, 2024, and he currently supervises the graveyard squad and patrol operations. So, thank you, Quint. Now if I can get Kevin Lane. Thank you. So this honor, and this would be Officer of the Year, is nominated and voted on by the Chiefs Advisory Committee, which is made up of representatives from each department within the, or each division within the department work groups, and they meet quarterly. Each quarterly, the non-administrative members vote on an employee of the quarter. From the 4 honorees, the Employee of the Year is selected. For 2024, that selection was Detective Kevin Lane. This past year, your performance has been nothing short of exceptional. You not only fulfilled your primary responsibilities as a department traffic detective with exemplary proficiency, but also took on numerous additional tasks with remarkable enthusiasm. Your initiative in developing a new vehicle pursuit procedure was particularly noteworthy. By proactively addressing the forthcoming changes in state law, you crafted a comprehensive pursuit policy that enhances clarity and consistency for decision-making process. Your dynamic presentations to both department and city staff, followed by your meticulous training of all department members, demonstrated your commitment to the excellence for the department and leadership. Your willingness to leverage your experience as a motorcycle officer to train fellow officers before their motor school, as well as your contributions as a firearm instructor and member of the review board, further underscores your dedication to the betterment of the department. Your can-do, positive, infectious attitude and willingness to embrace challenges are truly exemplary and embody the high level of service you provide both to our department and to the community, exemplifying the core values of the Renton Police Department. This recognition is a testament to your outstanding contributions and dedication to our department in your 18 years of service. Thank you. Well deserved. Congratulations. Council President, council members, thank you again. I'd like to emphasize that it's incredibly humbling for me to have the honor of working with amazing men and women of the RPD that are dedicated to the safety of our community and doing incredible and heroic acts each and every day, much like the examples you saw this evening. I appreciate you allowing us to celebrate these amazing accomplishments, and as always, thank you for your continuing support. Anyone that we honor tonight, if they can come back up, and we'll get some quick photos. And family members, feel free if you want to get some pictures too. Please do. One more? Yeah, following it. I already notified them. Yeah.
Very subtle.
I'll go for subtle.
Yes, you do, sir. Regularly. It's almost like it's your middle name. Oh, they put me on. We didn't put me. You got us. Oh. The big one. Smile. Okay.
All right.
Thank you all. Congratulations.
Yes.
That's all.
I don't know if it's in policy.
No, I think it should be in policy.
Love the stash. All right.
Yeah. There's too many of you guys looking at it.
Oh,
You just have to get so every month, every
Monday. Every Monday. Perrita.
not for the wellness, no.
They could be older.
Thank you.
I can tell you a story about that party.
You ready?
Yeah, no, thank you.
Perrita. That was nice.
All right, now that we all had a chance to meet Wally, we're going to move on. And the next item, administrative report.
All right, good evening, everyone. Join Mayor Armando Pavoni for the City of Renton's 2025 State of the City Address, Wednesday, March 26th at 6:30 p.m. The event will take place at the Hyatt Regency Lake Washington at Seattle Southport, located at 1053 Lake Washington Boulevard North. Doors will open at 5:30 p.m. and light refreshments will be served. Please stop by to chat with Chief Administrative Officer Ed Van Valey at the What's Brewing, Wednesday, March 19th at the Berliner Pub, 221 Main Avenue South from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. All ages are welcome. Please check out the Facebook event for more details. The draft 2025 Stormwater Management Program Plan is available on the city website. Public comments will be accepted through March 21st. The plan and instructions for making comments may be found on our website at rentonwa.gov/NPDES. Information about preventative street maintenance, traffic impact projects, and road closures happening this week can be found at rentonwa.gov/traffic. All projects are weather permitting unless otherwise noted. Streets will always remain open. That's it, sir.
All right, thank you. Next up is audience comment. We do have a few people signed up. I want to remind everybody that all remarks must be addressed to the council as a whole, and if you'd like a response, please provide your name and address, and email address. Each speaker is allowed 3 minutes. There's a timer up on top of the desk. When the light turns yellow, please start wrapping up your comments. And first up is Dominic Williams. Dominic? Nope. All right, Matt Hanby.
Okay, good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I want to thank the 6 council members who met with us in the last month about Logan 6. There's one of you we're still trying to reach. I'd like to thank the mayor for meeting with us last week for 30 minutes, which turned into 45 minutes, and Chief Administrative Officer of Van Valley as well. We submitted 4 questions to you, to the city. I realize you acknowledge those questions, and we're hoping to get answers because I think that will help provide a little bit of clarity on the Logan 6 project, which is why I'm here. So I was thinking about this, and this has been a tough slog. And the analogy I think of is it takes an act of Congress, right? It takes an act of Congress. Well, I actually worked in Congress a long time ago, and this rivals that and the challenge that we've been facing. So we're here basically asking for your help tonight. The time is running out. The hearing examiner's decision came out 2 weeks ago, and apparently as soon as he submits his application for a building permit, that's a big deadline. There is a court option where by the end of the month, if people decide that they should appeal the hearing examiner's decision to Superior Court, that is another option. But I implore you not to let the clock run out, okay? I know you're in a tough spot, and like me, you're not a land use attorney, but my hope is that you can at least prove to us that you have heard us. And what I'm expecting you to be able to do is to tell us our concerns. I've outlined 3 of them: the conflicts with the Renton Municipal Code, the Administrative Code for Design Standards, and the Comprehensive Plan. And I'm not going to give you a test, but I would hope that each and every one of you can at least say, we've heard you, we know these 3 concerns, and if we asked you, you could repeat them to us. And if you'd like me to send that information, I'm happy to do it again. Last Tuesday, I sent you a request for 3 actions, and I called it a call to action. And I realize that's hard in government and process and things like that. But the first call for action is to increase the parking requirement with multifamily housing for more than 1 bedroom. Okay, to have one parking spot for a 3-bedroom unit just seems ridiculous to me. The second request is that you review the Logan access question instead of 3rd and 4th Street entrances on the Logan project, to look at ways that Logan the Logan access can be somehow put to this project. Because without it, the traffic goes in and out of our neighborhood and through our residential streets. And the third ask, and I realize this is a big one, is for an interim zoning ordinance for residential and these zones that I've mentioned. The reason that I think this is a good idea is because it would provide clarity. It would provide clarity to developers, it would provide clarity to the residents, and it would help guide the path forward as we grow. I'm not against growth, but I think the Logan 6 is an example of where growth really isn't helping anyone out. Thank you.
Next up is Carter Farmer.
Good evening. I'm also against the Logan 6 project. It makes absolutely no sense. There is no place to park. And as Matt said, if you only have 100 spaces for 100 units, that is illogical. I live right near there. There's absolutely no place to park. There's already a lot of traffic on 3rd. To add more traffic to 3rd seems also very illogical to me. It's really going to impact the neighborhood in a very negative way. There also seems to be a lot better places. There's that huge abandoned building on Park between 5th and 6th that There's plenty of parking there, plenty of room, tons of parking. Why not build there? On another subject, I know you all have heard this, but I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to shut up about it, is fireworks. I have asked repeatedly that something more be done. I know that your hands are tied with certain laws, but I do not understand why it cannot be a noise ordinance violation. Fireworks are incredibly loud. If I have a loud party and I continue to have it, I can be arrested. But somebody can let off loud as a bomb fireworks in their backyard and nothing is done because they say they have to see them light it. You can hear it, so why can't it be a noise ordinance violation? I've asked police and they said city council needs to make it a thing. So I'm begging you to make it a thing before I spend another summer being angry every night because at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, they're still loud as a bomb fireworks are going, not just 4th of July, August, September. It goes on and on all summer. My dog spends the entire summer underneath the bed. I don't think that's fair. It's also incredible fire hazard. There's already been 2 businesses that have been destroyed. There was also the fire on New Year's Eve at, I forget the name of the place. And with Trump and his saying he's not going to help us with our forest fires, I think that's especially scary. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next up is Jolynn, and I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, so.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I also am against Logan 6, but I'm not going to speak about that tonight. I would like to address a missed opportunity by the City of Renton and the Renton School Board. At the February 26th school board meeting, representatives from Glass Eye Studios discussed their situation. Their building on Airport Way is being taken by eminent domain, but they are being offered much less money for their property than the properties on either side of them. A city employee spoke about the decision, then Glass Eye representatives gave their arguments. After that, the city employee was called back up to the podium by a member of the school board. The Glass Eye representative asked repeatedly to refute the city employee's facts, but they were told that they were not allowed to speak. In my opinion, and many of the attendees, it was rude and disrespectful on the part of the school board. This morning, I contacted Mike at Glass Eye Studios and apologized for the treatment that he received by the school board. He reminded me that at the end of the meeting, he was told that a representative from the city would be contacting him to see if they could come to some agreement or resolution. As of 9:30 a.m. this morning, no one from the city has contacted him. Glass Eye had plans to move their glass-blowing business to the building on Airport Way. The plan was to introduce and involve the community, and especially Renton's youth, to a place of learning and participation in the art of glass blowing. They are not against selling their property, they just want a fair price, and perhaps another building in Renton in which to locate their business. But after being treated so badly by the city and the school board, they no longer wish to do business with the city of Renton. They have found a property in South Park in which to move their business. We are the losers. We lost an opportunity to engage our youth and community in the art of glass blowing. We lost the opportunity to welcome a new business which employs 25 people to our city, all for a baseball field that is going to be used 3 to 4 months out of the year. Where is the sense in that? Thank you.
Before you go, could you, excuse me, Jolynn? Before you go, could you give your full name for the record? Thank you. All right, next up is Holly Tomashik.
Close enough, though. I'm Holly Tomashik. I am a resident of Renton. I've lived here in the house that I live in now for 22 years. So I'm going to talk about just my personal concerns on the Logan 6, because I live right near there. So my house is on the corner of 3rd and Williams, and both of those streets are one-way streets. My driveway access is on 3rd. So currently during morning and evening commute times, it's extremely difficult for me to back out of my driveway because of the traffic that goes along 3rd. It's heading towards Sunset, 405, all that. And in extreme cases, it can be a wait of sometimes 5 minutes, which doesn't sound like a lot, except that when you're sitting in your car in reverse waiting to get out of your driveway to get to work, 5 minutes is a long time. So, and that, I think, will only be confounded by the, if we have this giant complex, the Logan 6 there. It'll add more traffic on 3rd. I'm very concerned because my house is on the corner there where the traffic light is. And sometimes depending on the way the traffic light on Logan is and the traffic light on 3rd, that also affects how I can get out of my driveway. So with more traffic, I'm just thinking something's gonna have to happen or I won't ever be able to get out of my driveway. I also have a huge concern over the volume of traffic that'll be funneled out onto 3rd from the Logan 6 if the entry and exit points are only on 3rd and 4th. I can foresee even greater wait times. And also, I do want to mention the speed that people drive along 3rd there when they come flying off Logan. Kind of, there is a stoplight there, but it doesn't change very often. It's mostly when people are crossing. And so people just come whipping around the corner there and then want to get into a different lane or something. I mean, there's lots of traffic issues there. And I have at times almost been hit when I'm trying to get into my driveway because I start to slow down, I have my blinker on, and people are flying down 3rd, and I'm stopping to turn into my driveway there. Anyway, that's one concern. The second one is for the parking. Currently, there's limited street parking on Burnett, which is the one that would be behind the Logan 6. The residents of the houses on the east side of Burnett frequently park in front of their homes. The next street over to the east is Williams, which is the street I'm on, and there's street parking allowed on both sides of the street there. And I just worry about not every house has a garage, not everyone has parking area related to their house. And so the residents of those streets use the street parking. I do worry also about emergency access because if there's cars parked along both sides of the streets, the fire hydrants are frequently not allowed the berth that they're supposed to have with the parking along there, so it just is a concern for me.
That was Gabriel Jones.
Howdy folks, my name is Gabriel Jones. I am a Renton resident, and today I'm going to speak on two things. Firstly, I want to speak on LGBT protections again. Was really excited to see, I'm really excited I couldn't speak on it just because how council works, that I couldn't speak on it yesterday. I wanted to thank all the council members who not only brought stuff forward, but excited to talk about it. That was something that was huge to me. I almost started crying. It was phenomenal to hear that we're not afraid to fight back and that we're going to work on it, and that was really, really important to me. One thing I did want to mention with the conversation was, I heard the argument, Renton is an inclusive city, and I get that. Renton is an inclusive city as compared to, I lived in Florida for a time, and it's a very different world living here in Florida. But it doesn't mean we're not free of discrimination. I've been called slurs multiple times. I've had issues out here with discrimination. We're also facing a federal government that is outwardly homophobic. We don't know what will happen. We may be good now. 2 years down the line, may not happen. We have a lot of elections come up. What if we have someone who's incredibly homophobic run? What if we have people who are not a good fit and don't agree that I deserve rights? In 2 years, that could change. That's why even if we're not under immediate stress, it's a good time to back up and show that no matter what happens, we will stand with our people. And I am incredibly proud of the council members I got to work with, and I'm excited to talk with everyone else. I've talked to almost all of you, but if you haven't had a chance to talk about it yet, feel free to email me. I would love to talk with you guys about this. Other than that, other thing I want to talk about today was the Cedar River Trail. Brought up in the Public Safety Committee today. Thank you very much for that. I walk that trail every day at this point, and it is a awesome, beautiful trail. But I definitely, there's definitely some concerns about the encampments there. And one thing I heard the police department was doing that I really wanted to commend was the idea of giving services. That we're not only taking the place where they're staying, is that I really like the idea we're giving them services. We're giving them places to go, and I'm really proud to encourage that. And that's something I was really excited to see. So I really want to just come up today and thank our council members and say, let's keep on working. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Cheryl Freeds.
First thing I want to say is I loved the presentation by RPD. That was awesome. And now I need a dog. Cheryl Freeze, Logan 6, Renton resident. So what I want to talk about is a little bit different today about Logan 6 and what we're asking you all for. And that is something that I talked about last week regarding show us. Like, don't tell us anymore, show us. So we're asking tonight that you do something, show us that you hear us, show us that you represent us. We're imploring you to do the right thing. You've had an opportunity to do the right thing numerous times and failed to do so. You still have an opportunity to do the right thing. And the right thing is synonymous with within your power and within the legal rights of the city. You could have decided, any one of you, to postpone removing yourselves from the appeal process. You could have decided that with all the time and energy, meetings, opposition, facts provided from residents in Boeing, that this project was not going to set any of us up for success, and said we need to remain part of the appeal process. You could have read the hearing examiner's report and said, wow, there are quite a few statements in there that are cause for concern, so much so that he called them out. And they are in alignment with the concerns you've heard over the last year in letters, petitions, emails, and at city council and during our one-on-ones. You could have listened to Boeing's opposition in a letter dated October 2022 at the hearing examiner's meeting and now. We know they're still in opposition to the development and communicating that all to you regularly. What you do now, or what we want now, is one of several things. A moratorium that is not spot zoning, review the zones and rules that apply to areas next to residential areas and neighborhoods, change code to reinforce the idea that the city can require Logan access, change the parking requirement to require more parking. We are asking that during new business, a motion is made, seconded, discussed, debated, and a plan of action is created. We know that you need to meet with the city attorney for review and input, and we hope at next week's meeting that at minimum, one of the requests goes into effect. Thank you.
Next up is Sarah Becker.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. My name is Sarah Becker. I live in Renton. Again, you guys lucked out. I don't have a lot of time to prepare for these meetings. Working full time. I don't see how you guys have time to do all these meetings yourself. So maybe that's why some of these issues are sliding under the rug and not getting addressed. But I'm here to talk mainly about the Renton High School expansion. I'm opposed to it. I don't feel like it's an efficient use of the property that is in that area. I know you're not in charge of that expansion, but as the city representatives, you have authority to build bridges with the Renton School Board and speak to them and work with developing the city as you have a vision for. I did download the comprehensive City of Renton Comprehensive Plan from 2024, and I'm just going to read some stuff from that plan. So Renton has been designated a core city and has a regional growth center called the Renton Urban Center. The city is obligated to meet the 2044 growth targets contained in the King County countywide planning policies, and much of its growth capacity is in mixed-use zones such as the Central Business District, which is where the high school is. Regional growth continues to shape Renton's landscape, and Renton has a responsibility to ensure adequate development capacity to allow expansion and diversification of its economy, employment opportunities, and housing options. Policies encourage land efficiency and strive for development that is more intense than typical suburban development, and future residential and commercial growth is directed to the city center. So that would mean you'd want houses and businesses in the area, not a ball field. Renton City Center is located at the hub of commerce, needs a full range of housing types, and keeping historically dense neighborhoods to reduce inequalities caused by former housing policies and practices. Those are just some of the things in the comprehensive plan. So it seems like this development really goes against what the city of Renton's plan is for development. And I do believe it would be in our best interest to try to intercede and see if we can direct the development of the ball field to a different location that might be more appropriate, so we could keep the density and housing in our downtown neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up is Tristan. Okay.
My last name's always been kind of hard to pronounce.
Okay.
My name's Tristan Koshin, and I live in downtown. If I sound out of breath, nervous, it's because I am, but I'll get through this. I'm here to give some feedback on the Oakdale Avenue resurfacing and restriping project. I appreciate that the bike lanes that exist are under consideration for extension, but I hope to see that they are safer than the existing ones and that the current ones are also upgraded. Oakdale Avenue is designed like a highway, and people do drive on it like one. Even though the speed limit is 35 miles per hour, drivers often go near highway speeds or even double the speed limit. I've even had people I know tell me that they occasionally go 70 on that street without even realizing it. Some spots even have no street racing signs, which also shows a speeding issue is present. The current bike lanes are just over 4 feet wide, and having a semi-truck or bus pass inches away at high speed is extremely unsafe and unpleasant. Even the sidewalk can feel uncomfortable with only a little over 4 feet between pedestrians in high speed and heavy vehicle traffic. Oakdale is an important connection to South Center, the Amtrak station, IKEA, and the Springbrook Creek and Trail, and making it safer to reach these destinations outside of a car will help the city move towards the goals of the Trails and Bicycles Master Plan. I encourage the city to add a buffer to the bike lanes of at least 2 to 3 feet, and widen the existing bike lanes from 4 feet to at least 5 to 6, and to use this project as an opportunity to calm traffic and discourage speeding, creating a safer road for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next up is Michael Westgarten.
Hello, Michael Westgard, resident, Renton. Go Eagles. Hello, Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, Council. Thank you for your time. I'm coming tonight to say thank you for the council's support for looking into the sanctuary city status and exploring how to protect our minority communities within the city of Renton. I think this is incredibly important work, especially with the administration of sexual assaulters that are currently in the White House. And the more we can do to stand up and fight for people that are under attack, it shows the strength of Renton. So I think that's admirable work, and I just want to commend you for it and say thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, and next up is Rochelle Krebs.
Hi, Mayor, council members. My name is Rochelle Krebs. I am a North Renton neighborhood resident, and I am here to also oppose the Logan 6 project in its current iteration. And I'm not as knowledgeable as some of my neighbors and some folks that have really picked up the mantle for our neighborhood. But I do want you to understand that when a couple of folks continually come and bring up the same issue and the same concerns and really want accountability and really want support and answers, that they're not just here for themselves. They're representing a whole neighborhood of folks, working class, working poor, working parents, elderly, school-aged children. I was born in Renton. I was born in Valley Medical Center. I've lived here nearly my whole life. My parents live within a couple of miles. My mother-in-law lives within walking distance of my North Renton home. We own property in North Renton. We own property downtown. We run business downtown, employ folks. I love Renton. And I love the unique and historic character and nature of the North Renton neighborhood, which I think somewhere in some bureaucracy, there is a statement to protect that character and that nature. I don't have prepared remarks. I apologize if I'm inarticulate, but I recognize many of you. I voted for, I think, all of you multiple times, some of you. And with that vote comes my trust, the trust of my neighbors, the trust of my family, and the trust of my children. I have 2 school-aged children, one who walks to Sartori. He's 11. He's in 5th grade. When I was a 5th grader, I walked to school by myself. I don't let my son walk to school by himself. It's not because he's not responsible. It's not because there's actually more violent crime, even though the news would lead us to believe so. It's because pedestrian safety on that 3rd street is outrageous. There are elderly folks that walk around there, but there are school-aged children and some of them walking by themselves every day. I constantly have to avoid near misses for myself in the crosswalks by 3rd, walking, trying to cross where there are no crosswalks, but as we all know from the rules of the road, every intersection is an unmarked crosswalk in the city of Renton. People fly down that. There have been 2 incidences in the last couple of years where people have crashed off onto the sidewalk, probably at night, but I don't actually know the facts. Thankfully, I'm not aware of any children or pedestrians being harmed, but they come around that curve with an insane speed. It's dangerous. I'm constantly yelling. They're distracted. They're frustrated. They're trying to get to the freeway. The school's backed up because the blinking lights are on. They certainly don't respect stop signs. They don't respect the blinking 20-mile-per-hour school zone signs, and they don't go back far enough down 3rd. But adding 100 more homes, potentially double that vehicles of people trying to come through our neighborhood is only going to exacerbate the existing problems. We need you to listen and recognize and respond. Please, I get it's the 11th hour. This is my first time ever speaking in front of the council. I'm doing it because I care. And I'm concerned about the safety, not just for my own son and my own kids and my own family and my own elderly parents and neighbors, for all of us. And to preserve that, again, unique historic character of our neighborhood. The entrance and exits on Logan for this project need to be re-examined, need to be changed. We're not against progress, we're not against change. We're against poorly thought out, failing to mitigate the known, you're on notice, the known dangers of this plan and what it's going to do to the very real lives of your voters and our neighborhood. I've seen near misses. I've countless stopped, put my hand on cars, prevented other children riding their scooters from crossing the street from being hit. And I was the unfortunate witness to a pedestrian accident in the downtown Renton core recently. Pedestrian safety is real. The dangers that already exist on that 3rd Avenue and around our neighborhood are real. And there are significant problems with this. Expecting normal neighbors, working class, working poor, folks, elderly, Social Security pensioners, to somehow cobble together enough money to fight this in Superior Court. We all know litigation is financially and emotionally draining and costly, wastes resources. When this could be done at this level, you have the power. Please, please, protect my kid, protect our neighborhood. We don't have many like them. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. There are 5 items for council consideration. Are any like pulled for separate discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council President Albertson.
hearing none, I move to approve the consent agenda as published.
Second. Okay, it's been moved by Council President Albertson, second by Councilmember Perez, that the council approve the consent agenda as published. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries, and we're on to unfinished business. Council President Albertson.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Rivera.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember McGurven.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Transportation Committee has 2 reports to present.
Okay, Transportation Aviation Committee, committee report. This is regarding adaptive signal control at 5 intersections as part of Amazon mitigation. The Transportation Aviation Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to 1, authorize the purchase in the amount of $322,056.23
for vehicle detection and signal cabinet equipment for the installation of adaptive signal controls at 5 intersections. And 2, authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute amendment number 3 to contract 2340 with Western Systems in the amount of $123,516.01 for adaptive signal control scoot licensing and consulting services. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember McGurven.
I move that the council concur with the Transportation Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember McGurven, seconded by Councilmember Perez, that the council concur with the Transportation Committee report. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
All right, the final report from the Transportation Aviation Committee is regarding Renton School and Pedestrian Crossings number 2 project. The Transportation Aviation Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to authorize the mayor and city clerk to execute the agreement with Gray and Osborne Incorporated for $135,481 for design and construction engineering services on the Renton School and Pedestrian Crossings number 2 project. This too is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember McGurven.
I move council concur with the Transportation Committee report.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember McGurven, seconded by Councilmember Perez. Council concur with the Transportation Committee report. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. All right, we are on to Councilmember Prince.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Next up is legislation. We have none, so we're going to move on to new business. Council President Albertson.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. On Monday, March 17th, the committee of the whole meeting has been canceled. And at 7 p.m. on Monday, March 24th, we'll have the regular council meeting here in council chambers and via video conference. And that is all, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Rivera.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No new business.
All right, and we're going to move on to Councilmember Holleran.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. On Monday, March the 24th at 4 p.m., the Community Services Committee will be meeting in the council conference room and via video conference. We have 3 items on the agenda. The first is the Cleveland Richardson Park Master Plan Introduction and CIP Summary. This is a briefing only. The second is the Cedar River Trail Update. And third is emerging issues in community services. That's what I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember McGurven.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Prince.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Monday, March 17th at 6 p.m., the Planning Development Committee will be 24th. I'm sorry. March 24th at 6 p.m., the Planning Development Committee will be meeting. We have 2 items on the agenda. House Bill 1590 funding updates, and then emerging issues. And that's all, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Next up is Councilmember Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Monday, March 24 at 5 p.m., the Finance Committee will be meeting in the council conference room as well as via video conference. There are 5 items on the agenda. First, amendment number 3 to CAG/21/157 with Pacific Law Group LLP. Second, Association of Washington Cities Energy Audit Grant Subgrant Agreement. Third, Graham Baba Architects CAG 22-326 Amendment 8. 4, vouchers. 5th, emerging issues. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And what's the wish of the council?
Move adjourned.
It's been moved by Councilmember Prince, second by Council President Albertson, that we adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you all.